Mrs. Harden, we talk a lot about statistics when it comes to this disease and about the cost, but there's another cost that can't be measured in dollar signs, and that is the impact on the family when they get the diagnosis that a loved one has Alzheimer's disease. And grief really starts at that point of diagnosis. I applaud you for giving voice to how you've coped with the emotional consequences of that diagnosis. Are there any resources that you have found particularly helpful, or any that you wish had existed when you first learned of your mother's diagnosis?
That's a piercing question, and you're so right. The diagnosis of Alzheimer's of a loved one, of a family member, of a parent who's supposed to be leading the way, forces the siblings to lead the way. And siblings usually don't agree about much of anything, but especially what mom or dad would have wanted. And what I found is that it is a family disease, and it very often tears the family apart. They say it either brings out the best in the family or the worst in the family, and I think it brings out the both of the family. At the time, we only had the 36-hour book. That's what her doctor talked to us about, the 36-hour care book. So we also had Alzheimer's Association, and they were helpful to us, but they couldn't tell us how to mend the differences of the family, of what mom would have wanted. I wish we'd had BOLD. I wish we'd had something very specific to say, this is what you turn to, this is where you understand resources and financing and diet and all of the things that we're learning about today. We became fractured, to be honest. My family became fractured, and it's been a journey to pull us back together so we can give my mother the best care. Finances, we have no recourse for finances. When the finances run out, that's our question. What do we do then? How do we handle when the finances run out? So I think every little bit of awareness tips the scale. I'll keep thinking about AIDS and how the more voices came together, the more plans came together, the more it tipped the scale until we found a cure. And that's what I feel like we're doing today. I'll just say I felt like I was on a sinking ship. And I feel like in this room, everyone in here has we're all on the same journey. And yet the ship, there's that phrase, at crank. At crank means the ballast is not balanced. And I feel like we're here pleading and following you to balance the ship so that we can continue this journey safely.
Thank you. Dr. Howell, you mentioned in your testimony an issue that really matters to me, and that is when federal funding is being used. To me, we want to share the data, the results, as broadly as possible. Could you elaborate on what Jackson Lab does to spread the word about the research that you're conducting and the new mouse models that you're developing?
Yeah, I can. Much of the data that we've already used in order to generate the first mouse models have come from publicly available data, and this was something that was established by the NIH, particularly the NIA, when they first established the collaborations that preceded ours, which was to better understand the human condition. And so, as I mentioned, the Accelerating Medicines of Partnership for Alzheimer's Disease, all that data was publicly available, and that really helped us to get a jump start on how and which mouse models we were going to create. Within Model AD, we're living by the same standards. So whenever we create new data, that data goes to the same place that the AMP-AD is submitting their data to, and so it's all under the same. It's all in the same place. We also have other websites. We're using online resources. We're promoting our data at conferences, and apparently we're tweeting and all sorts of things. And then, obviously, the Jackson Labs has been a mouse model distributor for many, many years. And so we've leveraged that skill set to make sure that all of our mice are available without restrictions, which has also been something that has hindered Alzheimer's disease research in the past, so that we can get these mouse models to whoever wants to use them particularly maybe pharmaceutical companies who have struggled in the past to get the latest mouse models. And so we're working closely, particularly with Eli Lilly, for instance, in Indiana, to make sure that they want to use our new models, and if they want to use them, then other pharma who ultimately lead the clinical trial efforts will also benefit from them.
Thank you.